Imagine this. A group of seemingly ordinary people are divided into prisoners and guards, placed in a mock prison, and within days, the situation spirals into abuse and dehumanization. This isn't a dystopian fiction. It's the Stanford Prison Experiment, a chilling glimpse into the darker side of human nature. But here's a surprising statistic. Despite our capacity for cruelty, studies like one from Yale University show that even infants have a basic sense of morality, preferring helpful individuals over those who are mean. So, if we're born with a moral compass, why does evil persist? The concept of evil in human nature is an enigma that has captivated thinkers throughout history. Is evil intrinsic to our nature, or is it a learned behavior? This question isn't just philosophical. It touches on the very essence of who we are and how we navigate the world. To explore this, we must delve into the depths of psychology, history, and culture, uncovering the layers that make us human. The debate over the existence of evil in humans is as old as civilization itself. Philosophers like Immanuel Kant argued that humans have an innate moral law, while others, like Friedrich Nietzsche, saw morality as a construct of society. Psychologists have also grappled with this question, conducting experiments that reveal the unsettling truths about our nature. In 1971, Philip Zimbardo conducted an experiment that would forever change our understanding of human behavior. Participants were randomly assigned roles as prisoners or guards in a simulated prison. Within days, the guards began to abuse the prisoners, subjecting them to humiliation and psychological torture. The experiment had to be terminated early due to the escalating cruelty. This experiment raised disturbing questions about the ease with which ordinary people can become oppressors. It suggested that the roles we play and the environments we inhabit can bring out the worst in us, challenging the notion that evil is solely an innate trait. Another landmark study is the Milgram experiment, conducted by Stanley Milgram in the 1960s. Participants were told to administer electric shocks to a learner, who was actually an actor, whenever they made a mistake. Despite the learner's pleas for mercy, many participants continued to administer shocks, simply because they were following orders. This experiment highlighted the power of authority and the potential for evil actions under certain conditions. It showed that even ordinary people can be persuaded to inflict pain on others, given the right circumstances. Psychological theories offer various perspectives on human nature and the origins of evil. Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theory posits that humans are driven by innate instincts, including aggressive and destructive impulses. According to Freud, these impulses are part of our unconscious mind and must be controlled by the superego, which represents our moral conscience. Conversely, humanistic psychologists like Carl Rogers and Abraham Maslow argue that humans are fundamentally good and strive for self-actualization. They believe that evil behaviors are the result of environmental factors and personal experiences that hinder an individual's growth and self-realization. Another psychological perspective is the concept of the dark triad, which includes the personality traits of Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy. Individuals who score high on these traits are more likely to engage in manipulative, self-serving, and callous behaviors. Research suggests that these traits may have evolutionary roots, as they can confer advantages in certain social contexts. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another, is often seen as a counterbalance to evil. Studies have shown that individuals with higher levels of empathy are less likely to engage in harmful behaviors. However, empathy is not a panacea. It can be selective, and people may feel more empathy for those they perceive as similar to themselves, while dehumanizing others. Historical examples provide a rich tapestry of human behavior, both good and evil. The atrocities committed during the Holocaust, the Rwandan genocide, and other historical tragedies serve as stark reminders of the depths to which humans can sink. These events raise questions about the role of ideology, power, and societal structures in fostering evil actions. However, history also provides examples of extraordinary acts of kindness and heroism. During the Holocaust, individuals like Oskar Schindler risked their lives to save others, demonstrating the capacity for profound goodness even in the darkest of times. The trial of Adolf Eichmann, one of the architects of the Holocaust, introduced the concept of the banality of evil. Eichmann claimed that he was merely following orders and that he had no personal animosity towards the Jews. This defense suggested that evil actions can be committed not out of malice, but out of a sense of duty or obedience to authority. Hannah Arendt, who coined the term banality of evil, wrote in her book, Eichmann in Jerusalem, "The trouble with Eichmann was precisely that so many were like him, and that the many were neither perverted nor sadistic, that they were, and still are, terribly and terrifyingly normal." This quote underscores the chilling reality that evil can be committed by ordinary people under the right circumstances. Philip Zimbardo, the psychologist behind the Stanford Prison Experiment, coined the term Lucifer effect to describe the transformation of good people into perpetrators of evil. He argued that this transformation is not the result of an inherent evil nature, but rather a consequence of situational and systemic factors that can corrupt individuals. In his book, The Lucifer Effect, Understanding How Good People Turn Evil, Zimbardo writes, "The line between good and evil is permeable, and almost anyone can be induced to cross it when pressured by situational forces." This perspective challenges the notion that evil is solely an innate trait and highlights the power of external influences in shaping behavior. Culture plays a significant role in shaping moral behavior. Different societies have varying norms, values, and beliefs that influence what is considered good or evil. For instance, in some cultures, honor killings are seen as justified, while in others, they are condemned as heinous acts. Cultural narratives and myths also shape our understanding of evil. In many cultures, evil is personified in figures like the devil, demons, or malevolent spirits. These cultural constructs can influence how we perceive and respond to evil in our own lives and societies. Religion is a powerful cultural force that shapes our understanding of good and evil. Many religions provide moral codes and ethical guidelines that promote prosocial behavior. However, religion can also be a source of division and conflict, with some interpretations leading to intolerance and violence. For example, the concept of jihad in Islam has been interpreted in various ways, with some extremist groups using it to justify acts of terrorism. Similarly, the Crusades were a series of religious wars fought by Christians against Muslims, highlighting the potential for religion to fuel conflict. The media also plays a significant role in shaping our perceptions of evil. From news reports to fictional narratives, the media often portrays evil in sensationalized and simplistic terms. This can desensitize us to the complexity of human behavior and the nuanced nature of evil. For instance, the portrayal of serial killers in popular culture often focuses on their gruesome acts, rather than the underlying psychological and social factors that contribute to their behavior. This can create a distorted view of evil, where it is seen as an aberration rather than a product of complex human nature. As we delve deeper into the nature of evil, it becomes clear that the line between good and evil is not always distinct. The capacity for cruelty and kindness often resides within the same individual, influenced by a complex interplay of internal and external factors. Consider the case of serial killers, who often lead seemingly normal lives while committing horrific acts. The dichotomy between their public personas and their private actions highlights the duality of human nature and the potential for evil to coexist with normality. Evil can be intentional, where an individual deliberately causes harm, or unintentional, where harm is a byproduct of other actions. Intentional evil is often associated with malice and a desire to inflict suffering, while unintentional evil can result from negligence, ignorance, or the pursuit of self-interest at the expense of others. For example, the actions of a dictator who orders the execution of political opponents are intentional evil, while the actions of a corporation that pollutes the environment for profit are unintentional evil. Evil can also be individual or systemic. Individual evil refers to the actions of a single person, while systemic evil refers to the structures and institutions that perpetuate harm. Systemic evil is often more insidious, as it can be embedded in the fabric of society and go unnoticed or unchallenged. For instance, the actions of a racist individual are individual evil, while the policies and practices that perpetuate racial inequality are systemic evil. One of the most intriguing twists in the study of human nature comes from the field of neuroscience. Recent research has shown that our brains are wired for empathy and compassion, with mirror neurons allowing us to feel the emotions of others. This suggests that our capacity for good is not just a cultural or psychological construct, but a biological one. However, the same research also shows that our brains can be desensitized to the suffering of others, particularly when we perceive them as different or threatening. This desensitization can lead to dehumanization, where we see others not as fellow humans, but as objects or enemies. Oxytocin, often referred to as the love hormone, is associated with bonding and social connection. However, research has shown that oxytocin can also enhance in-group favoritism and out-group derogation, suggesting that it can contribute to both prosocial and antisocial behaviors. In a study published in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, researchers found that oxytocin increased the willingness of participants to make sacrifices for their in-group, but also increased their willingness to harm out-group members. This finding highlights the complex role of biology in shaping moral behavior. Altruism, the selfless concern for the well-being of others, is often seen as the antithesis of evil. However, altruism can also have a dark side. Pathological altruism occurs when the desire to help others leads to harmful consequences, either for the altruist or for those they are trying to help. For example, a parent who enables their child's destructive behavior out of a misguided sense of love and support is engaging in pathological altruism. This highlights the complex nature of human motivation and the potential for good intentions to lead to harmful outcomes. One compelling case study that challenges conventional views on human nature and evil is the story of the Good Samaritan experiment conducted by John Darley and C. Daniel Batson in 1973. In this experiment, seminary students were asked to give a talk on the parable of the Good Samaritan. Some were told they were late and needed to hurry, while others were not under time pressure. As they walked to the venue, they encountered a person in distress. The researchers found that those who were in a hurry were less likely to stop and help, despite having just prepared a talk on the importance of helping others. This experiment highlights the complex interplay between situational factors and moral behavior, suggesting that our actions are not solely determined by our innate nature, but also by the circumstances we find ourselves in. In their paper, From Jerusalem to Jericho, a study of situational and dispositional variables in helping behavior, Darley and Batson wrote, "It is hard to escape the conclusion that the priest and Levite in the parable were not bad men but, rather, men in a hurry." This quote underscores the power of situational factors in shaping moral behavior and challenges the notion that our actions are solely determined by our innate nature. The question of whether evil is an inherent part of human nature or a learned behavior is a complex and multifaceted one. Psychological theories, historical examples, and cultural influences all provide valuable insights into the origins and manifestations of evil. The Stanford Prison Experiment and the Milgram Experiment demonstrate the power of roles and authority in shaping behavior, while the Good Samaritan experiment highlights the influence of situational factors. Historical events and cultural narratives further illustrate the diversity of human actions and the contexts in which they occur. In conclusion, human nature is a complex tapestry of good and evil, shaped by both innate tendencies and external influences. Understanding the role of evil within this tapestry requires a nuanced approach that acknowledges the interplay between biology, psychology, culture, and environment. By recognizing the complexity of human nature, we can strive to cultivate the good within us and mitigate the potential for evil, ultimately creating a more compassionate and just world. As we continue to explore the nature of evil, it's important to remember that understanding is just the first step. The real challenge lies in applying this knowledge to create positive change. Whether it's through education, policy, or personal growth, we all have a role to play in shaping a future where the good in human nature can flourish, and the darker sides are kept in check. After all, the true test of our humanity is not in the presence of evil, but in our ability to overcome it. The exploration of evil in human nature is not just an academic exercise. It is a call to action. It is a call to reflect on our own behaviors and biases, to challenge the systems and structures that perpetuate harm, and to cultivate empathy and compassion in our daily lives. It is a call to recognize the potential for evil within ourselves and to strive to be better, to do better, and to create a world where goodness prevails. In the words of Martin Luther King Jr., "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Let us be the light and the love that drives out the darkness and hate, for it is in our hands to shape the future of humanity. To truly understand the nature of evil, we must also engage in self-examination. We must ask ourselves difficult questions and confront our own biases and prejudices. Are there times when we have acted out of self-interest at the expense of others? Have we ever dehumanized or dismissed someone because of their differences? Have we ever failed to act when we had the power to help? These questions can be uncomfortable, but they are essential for personal growth and moral development. By examining our own actions and motivations, we can gain a deeper understanding of the complex nature of evil and the potential for good within us. Education is a powerful tool in the fight against evil. By teaching empathy, compassion, and critical thinking, we can help future generations to recognize and resist the forces that lead to evil actions. We can also teach them about the historical and cultural contexts that have shaped our understanding of good and evil, and the importance of challenging systemic injustices. In the words of Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. By investing in education, we can create a more informed, empathetic, and just society. Policy and law also play a crucial role in shaping moral behavior. By creating just and equitable policies, we can address systemic evils and promote the well-being of all members of society. We can also hold individuals and institutions accountable for their actions, ensuring that justice is served and that the rights of all people are protected. In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, the true measure of any society can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members. By creating policies that protect and support the most vulnerable, we can create a more compassionate and just world. Finally, the importance of community cannot be overstated. By building strong, supportive communities, we can foster a sense of belonging and connection that transcends individual differences. We can also create a culture of care and responsibility, where members of the community look out for one another and work together to address common challenges. In the words of Margaret Mead, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. By building strong communities, we can create a more interconnected and caring world. The nature of evil is a complex and multifaceted issue that touches on the very essence of who we are as humans. By exploring the psychological, historical, and cultural dimensions of evil, we can gain a deeper understanding of its origins and manifestations. However, understanding is just the first step. The real challenge lies in applying this knowledge to create positive change, both in ourselves and in the world around us. Through self-examination, education, policy, and community, we can strive to cultivate the good within us and mitigate the potential for evil. By recognizing the complexity of human nature and the power of external influences, we can create a more compassionate, just, and interconnected world. In the words of Albert Einstein, the world is a dangerous place to live, not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it. Let us be the people who do something about it, who stand up for justice, who cultivate compassion, and who create a brighter future for all.